Thank you for joining us on the news. I'm Tamilore Akinkwulie, and these are the stories that are making the rounds. Now, protesters are actively demonstrating in Lagos, and youth in their numbers have converged at Ikeja on the bridge and are currently marching to Ojota. The protest, which began on Thursday, August 1st, is planned to last till August the 10th. Now, the protest is coming following the current economic hardship faced in the country.
The cause of this protest is malgovernance. The cause of this protest is hunger in the land. The cause of this protest is corruption in the land. The cause of this protest is the fact that our leaders have let us down. The cause of this protest is that Nigerians are hungry and they are angry. We are hungry and we are angry. Our common resources have been wasted by those who put in authority. And so, Nigerians have taken the fate in their own hands. And we're saying enough is enough. They say we are faceless, but we're not faceless. These are our faces. We were with them. We were with them in the past. We were with them. Ashwaju was a lead protester. Ashwaju was #1 protester in this country. Maybe you don't know. When he said Emiloko is a language of protest. Yes. It's a language of give it to me. It's my turn. It's a language of protest. So the #1 protester should not be against protesters. And what we're saying is this: the courts have said something that we should be converged somewhere. But Nigeria is too big for Ojota or Ketu to contain us. We are peaceful and we remain peaceful.
I need to join the protest to rescue this country because this country is drifting. We are losing it. And it is high time we all come together and save this country. We put some people there. We voted for them for better living. Are we seeing that better living? That we are suffering. It's not that we are exaggerating. You can go to market and see what I'm talking about. Are you getting me? Okay, they have approved 70,000 minimum wage. When that minimum wage was about 18,000 in 2015, a bag of rice was about 6,500 naira. Then you are paying 70,000 now. Then that bag of rice is about 85,000. What are we talking about? You see, things are very hard. People are really suffering. If you are living by your means, you will not survive in this country. People are cutting corners. Only anybody you see that is enjoying in this country is cutting corners. That's the fact of it. If you are living by your salary, you will not enjoy this country because things are very, very expensive.
Now, protesters at the National Stadium in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, have disagreed with the FCT Commissioner of Police, Ben Igwe, over the move to restrict the protesters to only inside the National Stadium. Now, while protesters gathered at the entrance of the stadium, displaying placards and chanting about hunger, Igwe insisted that the protesters must respect court orders regarding the protest.
We have a court judgment on court order on substituted service, which the barrister Deji Adeyanju is leading them, is aware of. The substituted service said that the order is that they should protest inside the stadium. And we requested that each group that will protest has to come to the police and notify the police. No group has notified the police. We only came here to see some people here, and we said, for the fact you have not notified us and they want to protest, follow the court order, which Deji Adeyanju, the barrister, is aware. The order said, protest inside the stadium. We are not stopping anybody from protesting, but look at how they are blocking the express road. And I said no, because where their right stops, where another man's own stops. Because as they are infringing into the right of way of people, is not good. They are equally trampling on other people's rights on passage. And that's why he said no. They should enter the stadium where the court has given order. They should enter inside. They should carry their 1,000 pressmen and enter the stadium and protest. They can transmit it to 2,000 word press. I don't care. It's not me that gave the ruling. It's court order.
So what options are you
if they want to breach the court order, they are breaching the court order. It's not my order. It's not the order of the Inspector General of Police. It's not the order of anybody. It's the order of a constituted authority of the court. So. If they are doing it against court order, they know they are equally disobeying.
So what are the consequences?
They should know the consequences. Their barrister is here.
You don't know the consequence?
The barrister is here. He knows the consequence of disobeying court order.
The protesters the protesters are at the stadium. Are we not in the national stadium?
We are there.
The court order say national stadium. They have refused to allow us to go to Eagle Square. We say we will not confront
No,
them.
what the police commissioner is saying that inside the national stadium.
No, the court order said stadium, national stadium. That's what the court order say. Koniman die, Koniman bury him. You understand? Koniman die, Koniman is a Koniman. I'm also a Koniman.
So he has spoken to you now as the commissioner of police in Abuja. Are you willing to?
Are we not complying? Are we not at the stadium? Are we at Eagle Square?
Okay, but if he
He's my big brother.
If he insists that you should move into the national stadium,
Then they have to carry us in.
Yes,
I've gone to speak as the lawyer. I've advised the protesters. I said, listen, if no matter how uncomfortable you are with a positive court order, whether it is interim, interlocutory, or perpetual, you must try to comply. The law must see you taking steps to comply. You can see that people kept it, but protesters called me as early as 5 a.m. this morning and said they're going to stop the Eagle Square. And I advised them that they should not go there. That they should not go to the Eagle Square, because if they do that, they'll be disobeying the court order. You see, because we're in the stadium, we are within the ambit of the law, complying with the positive order of the court, because we're in the vicinity of the national stadium. Do you understand? We are not in the free-arm zone. That is why, you see, my appeal before the CP came, you see how peaceful and serene the place was. But with the CP's presence, the atmosphere is charged. So my appeal to my big brother is that you should not take steps that will make the protest degenerate.
And that was the Commissioner of Police in Abuja speaking to protesters. But recent update from Abuja says that the protesters are already being tear-gassed and being instructed to stay in the National Stadium given to them by the court order. Now, I am now being joined by security expert David Okoro. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Now, there have been reactions to the move by police in Abuja throwing tear gas in an attempt to disperse the protesters who refused to be confined in the National Stadium. Do you think this move is warranted?
Absolutely not, because the protesters are not causing any crisis. They are not violent. And so there's no need for tear gas. I think it's a matter of proper understanding of the police, of the rights of the citizen, and the use of force, when to use force and when not to use force. Because when you apply an element of force as throwing tear gas, you are going to inflame the protesters, and other things will happen. We've seen protests in the past where the police have done very well in guiding the protesters and providing the right environment for protests to take place. And in Abuja here, there's no reason for any policeman at this time to begin to throw tear gas at all. It's just for the Commissioner of Police to manage that situation in as much a civil way as possible. But it's unfortunate if he has started throwing tear gas, because that's really the last measure. When you are involved in crowd control, throwing tear gas and all that is the last measure, particularly when you notice that the protesters are going to be violent. But here, there's no evidence that anybody is going violent as yet.
All right. Now, the protesters have said they will not call off the demonstration until their demands are met. Now, do you know any fear that the protests will turn violent? Mr. David, I said the protesters have said that they would not stop the demonstrations until the demands are met. Now, do you know any fear that this protest will turn violent?
Well, there are conditions that the protest can become violent. One is if the protest is prolonged, and two, if an element of opposition is introduced. For instance, what government used to do in the past is that because there is a protest, they will send their own anti-protest. So you have a situation where you have two groups on conflicting sides, and when they meet, it always leads snowball into violence. But if it is that these guys are by the roadside and they are chanting their song, they are abusing Mr. President, they are talking, they are saying whatever they want to say, and they are not forcefully dispersed or disrupted, there's usually no room for violence. But that's, like I said, as it's going peacefully. But if you allow the protest to go on for another 2-3 days, then you are going to find that other elements, whether within Nigeria and outside, will begin to introduce extraneous ideas or forces that could lead to violence. But as long as the protesters are allowed to do their thing peacefully, I don't see any violence erupting at all. I think my worry is not here. My worry is not Abuja Stadium. These are civil people. It is in the where the populace live, in the suburb where mass people live, where people are really hungry and people are angry. And that's where I think that the police should focus their interest, because people there will want to take advantage of this kind of protest to begin to loot and break into stores and all that. I think that's where the police should be more concerned, not this one, that this demonstration at the stadium is just for the purpose of the photographs and for public interest. These guys are not likely to cause any problem as long as they are allowed to do their thing. But when the police play into their hand now, because it's a trap, police can play to their hand, and that will become a basis to escalate violence in that area. And I think the police must avoid that.
All right, security expert David Okoro, thank you so much for your time. Now, moving on, the United States Embassy in Abuja has issued a security alert to citizens over the ongoing nationwide protest scheduled to be held from August 1st to 10th, as organized by some groups in Nigeria. This is contained in a statement by the embassy and made available to the press on Thursday. It explained that the decision to issue the security alert was made out of an abundance of caution, considering the security risks related to the forthcoming protests. Meanwhile, on the global scene, Iranians have turned out to mourn Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh on Thursday, a day after he was assassinated in Iran's capital in an attack that was heightened fears of a direct conflict between Tehran and his arch-enemy Israel. Now, according to reports, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Al-Khamenei leading prayers at the Haniyeh's funeral at Tehran University, where thousands of mourners dressed in black chanted, "Death to Israel and death to America." And on sport, Clinical Japan have beaten Nigeria 3-1 in the final Group C women's football event at the Paris Olympics to send the African giants home. First half goals from Malaika Amano and Mina Tanaka and Arikiru Kitgaga ensured that the Japan ladies finished second in the group to book a place in the quarterfinals of the tournament at the expense of Nigeria. And that's all we can take on the news at the moment. Join us for more updates on the ongoing protests on the end bad governance.